So we're getting ready for Las Vegas, and a lot of programmers will be there. A lot of, amongst many other constituent groups in our world. But for programmers who are looking to target an audience more successfully, what are their opportunities, and where do you think they need to be moving kind of in the next year? And of course, there are some very innovative ones who are doing some innovative work in terms of identifying. But what can programmers do to more effectively target the audiences that matter to them on a sort of a micro level?
I think the biggest challenge is that there isn't a census level data set available. A lot of the data that's used today is kind of pockets, whether it's a certain NVPD or a certain device that might make their data available. And 605, our company, was really formed for one purpose, to really aggregate data on a national basis, to provide it to clients like programmers who can get a more holistic view of measurement across the nation, but also across device. I think CES is unique because every device manufacturer will be represented there. And while that's a tremendous opportunity for distribution for programmers, it also presents a lot of challenges when it comes to measurement. So I think the opportunity for programmers is really to leverage census level data on a national basis, which is really our core mission.
So where does census level data stand, and how are you bringing that to the industry?
Well, it's really through partnerships. You know, we're partnered with several MVPDs through our acquisition of Analytics Media Group. We gained access to national data across 5 or 6 different MVPDs. So it's really our goal is to build on top of that and also extend that beyond just addressable and to programmers so they can do other forms of programming analytics. So whether it's looking at ways to optimize scheduling, ways to optimize distribution, or ways to optimize the content itself beyond just advertising, that's really the focus of the business.
Cool, and tell us what your business model is and sort of how you engage with programmers.
So we approach every client as a partnership because there is data that's reciprocal. In the case of over-the-top services, a lot of the programmers will gather that data themselves, but they lack the authentication or the subscriber credentials associated with that viewing. So part of the relationship involves us matching their over-the-top data with our subscriber level data so they can get a sense on a segment level kind of who is consuming their content across device. So in that sense, it's kind of a reciprocal partnership, but it really begins and ends with us being able to onboard national census level data for their use. And as I mentioned before, that can encompass advertising, but also more deep forms of programming analytics.
And Ben, from a kind of a macro level, what do you think targeting will mean for programmers moving forward? You know, we do certainly hear a couple of the innovative programmers, notably NBC, notably Turner, doing really cool things, and others are doing them. Looking ahead to the next year, to the upfronts, to sort of the planning, where will this whole sort of data planning impact programmers in terms of, in perhaps a wider way, or where might it be going?
Well, I think one of the limitations today is that addressable advertising is really limited to just the 2 minutes of local time per hour, which can benefit the cable operators and a lot of local advertisers, and to some extent programmers when they tap into that inventory for tune-in. But I think where over time this goes is addressable capability extending to the national advertising avails. And that's where it really starts to serve the programming interests well, in the sense that they're serving a national audience, however, giving them the ability to target based on very discrete customer segments, whether it's households in market for a car or cruise vacationers. They can segment for their advertisers their own national avails, and I think that's where this really gets to the next level. This will take some time because it requires a lot of capacity to do addressable on a national basis. However, I do think it's coming, and I also think between now and then, such as the work that NBC and Turner have done, where they're taking data and audience information to be able to sell kind of high indexing avails, so spots that index high against a certain demo. It may not be addressable, but it's certainly a good start.
Cool. And And finally, at CES, you guys are going to be speaking to people for the first time as a new company. What kind of conversations do you hope to engage there, and what are some of the topics that you hope to cover?
Well, first we want to explain who 605 is, since we're relatively new, and explain our focus, that we're a pure data play. We're not really into the media game. We don't sell advertising. We don't broker advertising. We don't have an ad marketplace. Our goal is really to empower programmers and advertisers with data direct and enable them to do analytics on a much more granular basis. So our goal out of CES is really just to look at all the new devices that are out there, because ultimately these devices represent fragmentation, which present measurement challenges, which we can help solve. So I think first and foremost, it's to look at where kind of connected devices are going, how content will be consumed, and also connecting with programmers and advertisers that are looking at those devices as a new form of distribution and figuring out ways that we can solve the measurement challenge.